Hi everyone, my name is Adeline Watkins, and I'm so glad that Dr. Ho invited me to come and talk to you all today. Please, if there's anything that I can do to help, just let me know. I literally graduated in 2024, so still very young, still learning throughout this whole process, but it just feels good to be back in my space of VSU, and I'm sorry that I wasn't able to attend in person. I actually have work tomorrow, so but I do want to say thank you to all of the faculty, staff at VSU in the communications department, because I would not be where I am today without you. So thank you for all of your help and your support. Now, to all of you who are thinking about getting a communications degree, don't hesitate. Just do it. Just get it. Get the degree program, because I promise you, you will be ready to get a job at the time that you graduate. Like me. Now, I graduated in May of 2024 with my bachelor's in organizational communication. And after that, I ended up moving to Washington, D.C. to pursue my master's of public administration from American University. So I'm doing that as well as working for a nonprofit organization called First Book. So a little bit about the organization. We are a social entity, or social enterprise organization is how we call ourselves, where our whole mission is to close the gap in education. We want all students, no matter their socioeconomic status, their neighborhood, their environment, to have books, to have materials so that they are ready and to be supported in the classroom. We help teachers, we help nonprofit organizations. As long as they serve 70% of lower income students, they are able to be a part of the program. If they don't, they're not able to be a part of the program. But that is a deal with our publishers, where we are staying true to our word to ensure that they are actively helping those who are in need. And that's what we do. So my position is a membership service coordinator, and that is essentially administrative work. I am, how I like to call, the gatekeeper of all information, all resources, all money. Anything and everything comes through me first before it goes to the different departments. So any question that a member has, any information that a member needs, they ask us and we provide them that information, or direct them to another person in our department or in our organization. So my job duties are primarily to, number one, I conduct audits on our members. That way I'm actually checking and doing research on them to ensure that they are still serving those 70%. If not, I go ahead and kind of kick them out of the organization or out of our database. Number two, I do a lot of work with our member engagement team. So I'm also first point of contact when it comes to getting partnerships with our partners, whether it be the Disney Foundation, Kendra Scott Foundation. We also partner with Sonic and a lot of other big organizations, to where we receive funding from them as well as provide services to them. So it's kind of a great way for us to be able to provide resources to our teachers, to our nonprofit orgs, to where they don't have to come out of pocket when it comes to decorating their classroom, or getting books, or getting free money just to be able to have to help their students. And then lastly, I also create a lot of onboarding materials for our new members. I use a lot of AI or a lot of different databases or platforms that make it easier on me as well as the team whenever they're first coming in, to where they can just kind of look at what I have, and then they can kind of go in and be confident in their role and their responsibility being with First Book. So why is it so important to get a communications degree? Well, firsthand, getting a communications degree means you are an expert, period. You have the tool sets, you know how to do a lot of different things, you're well skilled, and jobs are looking for skills. They want people who already know what they're doing. They don't want to have to train someone and it take them a few months before they get into their position. No, they want you. They want the communications major, because you know how to write. You know how to analyze material, complex material, and break it down and explain it to someone who doesn't know anything about your model or who you are, right? And they also want someone who is compassionate, who can read the room. You are taught that in communications. And it may seem easier said than done, but I kid you not, there are a lot of people in corporate America, in DC, in nonprofit world, everywhere, who are not skilled in anything. They just have a degree. Don't be that person. Please do not be it. But coming from VSU's communications degree program, you learn how to write professionally. The amount of times, actually in my job, I send emails every day. I am on the phone every day. And so when I first started, I wanted to make sure that I'm crafting messages that allow me to still sound professional, nice, respectful, but I don't want to get run over. I don't want them to think that I'm not qualified in my job. So I might use some terminology. Hi, that way they know that I'm professional at all times, but I'm still nice, right? And so learning how to craft different messages to your audience is very important. And that's something that you learn in this degree program. Secondly, when it comes to global audiences, so we do work with our Canadian team, and I receive a lot of phone calls and a lot of questions from Canada, from our members, and they have a completely different system when it comes to their finances, when it comes to their social norms, when it comes to some of the lingo that they use or terminology. And it's my responsibility to do research on that to become well versed, because some of the things that we do in the United States, they don't do, and they don't use the same words. So when I first started, I had to do a little research. What does that word mean? There's nothing wrong with doing research at your job, and that's something else that you learn as well, but I'll talk about that next. But, I've really learned how to gauge and read the room. That way, everyone knows that we're on the same page. A lot of times when you're in communications, you want to be the leader in a sense of gauging that conversation. And that's what I do every single day, right? I want to make sure that whoever I'm talking to, whoever's in front of me, that they see me as someone who cares for them, but I'm still conveying a message. And that's also persuasion. So in the persuasion class that you're going to take, you should take it, you learn how to persuade, not force, but just kind of give them the tools and the information that they need. And I will say that was probably my favorite class within the whole communications degree program. But when it comes to organizational communication, when it comes to PR, when it comes to the other sector of communication, I did not do, but you learn how to be professional and put yourself out there. So as the leader, when you graduate from college, no one expects you to have it all together. What we do expect you to do is to learn, is to just listen and learn and take all that you need to learn for your job, because when you get into the job market and you've been in your job for a few years, you know what it takes to start changing things within the organization. You just can't do it when you first come out of college, which is a lot of what we all feel like. We feel like we can take over the world when we graduate, but that's not the case. You have to do it gradually, learn as much as you can, and then do it. So between persuasion, between global communication, and I'll even say learning new technology. When you are in the communications degree program, you're going to learn how to use a lot of project management software. You're going to learn how to use research. I use research now in my job. I work with data sometimes. I, have definitely used that in actually every sector of my work, but, it's definitely a skill that you're going to need for whatever you go into, for sure. Also, you're going to learn how to problem solve, think on your feet, right? I loved how in Dr. Nelson's class, you're able to participate in a extracurricular activity where you are working with the city of Valdosta or another entity in the Valdosta area, and you are put to the test. You serve as, you're given clients, and you are trying to create a social media campaign for your client, and that really kind of gets you thinking of what it will be like for when you graduate into the real world. Now, technically, I don't necessarily do a lot of visual design, but I still have it on my resume that I've done it. I have experience in creating different projects on InDesign and on Canva, and again, although I don't do it all the time, I still put it on my resume as well as in my portfolio, because if I ever need to get a job in social media management, I can do that, as well as a lot of other things, business. Because I promise you, every organization that you work in, the skills that you learn in communications, you will use. The last thing that I will say is that if there's anything else or nothing else that I've said that resonated with you, please get an internship. Get an internship. Although you will learn a lot of skill sets in the communications degree, you need something that will make you more marketable. You need something that says to the hiring manager, not only were you book smart, but you also know what it takes to be in this career. You know what it takes to do these skills. You have the skills, right? And so giving you an internship, it gives you a little coins, a little currency, but it also gives you the skill sets needed. I see a lot of people today who graduate from college and just expect a job like that, or even a higher paying job like that, without having any experience. It doesn't work. You need an internship. So please do that before you graduate, and that when you're ready to graduate, hopefully you have a job lined up. Maybe not, but if that's the case, amazing. If you don't have that, then you will have a network. You will have people to talk to, peers, coworkers. You'll have that support system that you need to get into college, or get into, whether it be your grad program or getting a job. And I'd even say, make sure you try new things. I think a lot of us may not know what we want to do when you're first starting out into college. That's okay. But at the end of the day, just getting out there and seeing what's there. You never know. You might find your dream career. You might find something that leads to another door. But be marketable. I even say ask your professors. Get to know your professors. Your professors, I promise you, they have a lot of life experience. They know a lot of information. It's up to you to get that information. Go to office hours. Ask them questions about assignments, because you don't want to graduate from college not knowing a life skill that your professor can teach you. So that's also a life skill. You know, being an advocate for yourself, getting the information that you need. So yes, that is my advice to you. I hope you learned a lot. When it comes to communications, you know, there's so many different things that you can do with it. I mean, I know a lot of people who work in business and finance. Whether you want to work on the news, if you want to be a lawyer, it doesn't matter. Heck, I want to get into politics. At the end of the day, communications opens so many doors, and you're not limited to doing anything. So please consider it. But if you guys have any questions or anything, just let me know. Send me an email at Watkins, WATKINS, ADDY364@gmail.com, or you can ask Dr. Ho or any of the professors. You know, hopefully you want to be in my career field in public service. I would love that. But regardless, I hope to see you guys doing big things in communication. And thank you so much. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.